Hey everybody, this is Tell the Truth Sports Radio. I'm your host, Ron Fitch. I'm going to tell you the truth and nothing but the truth about the NFL. And it's not the truths that I like. Sometimes you got to tell inconvenient truths when you are consider yourself a sports truther. So I want to talk about the Rams and the Bears. I picked the Rams and Bills to go to Super Bowl. Rams so far holding their end of the bargain, but this was a game I felt like the Bears were going to win from the beginning when it was tied 10-10. That was a good sign for the Rams. They weren't behind. But the way they were getting stopped and shut down was incredible. And their defense was really, really solid. I got to give the Bears credit. They were shutting down Matthew Stafford. He was off, though. And the guys weren't open. It was kind of a mess. But then the Rams defense, Mr. Shula, Don Shula's grandson, did a good job. And then the Rams broke through and scored. And that's where the fun began because the Bears went down the field and from the Ram 50, after holding them, they got stopped. And they're all headed for a touchdown to tie the score. They got stopped on fourth down. Caleb Williams threw a bad pass. Rams needed a first down. They didn't get it. I said, uh-oh. Punt the ball, 50-yard line. Bears go marching, 4th and 4. Caleb Williams, which he does a lot, fades back, runs backwards because he's trying to buy time. He's so athletic, he can get away with it. And launches a ball in the end zone. I said, what is he doing? And Cole Kmet caught the ball. They said it was a push off. You know what? Kobe Durant wasn't strong enough. You got to man up and try to stay with him and run with him to make it a more difficult throw. He was able to he wasn't able to stand up and deflect the ball, and Komet caught it. It was a touchdown. Uh, Bears are going to win. Bears are going to go to Seattle. I'm thinking that overtime, and the Rams don't. The Rams have to punt. That's game. Here come the Bears. Going to be a game-winning field goal. This is going to go down in history as one of the greatest uh, passes in NFL history to win a game. And Caleb Williams throws an interception at the Ram 48. And it was weird. Cam Curl intercepted it, but it seemed like more. I don't want to make excuses for Caleb Williams, but it seemed like the route was run wrong or Williams thought the ball was going to go one way, and it didn't. And it went to Curl's hands, and the Rams are moving on. They were able to move down the field, and Stafford's really good when it comes to closing. He closed. And Melvis made a field goal, 43 yards, which I do not trust their kicker, but they're headed towards Seattle, and I'm still picking them to go to Super Bowl. Their defense is solid, not spectacular. They're going to have to be spectacular because the Seahawks run down their throat, but they already been there. They've been there, done that. Seattle, they had the lead. They beat them up the first time in LA. They're used to Seattle. The crowd's not going to affect them that much. They went to a cold Chicago and won. They're going to go into Seattle and win, and they should be playing the Patriots. And I'll get to that because now the Patriots got to bye to the Super Bowl. Looks like with Bo Nix getting hurt. It should never ever came down to that. It was a seesaw battle between the Bills and the Broncos, and I will tell you why Josh Allen lost this game, and he's the GOAT of this game. This is my guy. In the fourth quarter, when it's time, was winning time, and they had a chance to go up 8. You go up 8, even if Denver comes down and scores, they have to get a 2-point conversion, and you would still have some time left to win the game, which Buffalo end up getting the field goal. But if Josh Allen throws the ball on the money to Shakir. He throws a ground ball to him. It was an easy lateral throw, catch. Shakir was going to get the 8 yards. He was going to score the touchdown, and it was incomplete. You can't do that. He had time to throw. You can't miss that. You know, and I'll say this: my guy Ben Roethlisberger doesn't miss when it comes to winning in the fourth quarter. Brady's not missing that. Montana's not missing that. Mahomes not missing that when it comes to winning time. And he did. Josh Allen did. And Denver came down and scored. And then Buffalo had another chance. And now Josh Allen has Dawson Knox streaking down the field for a 32-yard touchdown. He was wildly overthrew him, which didn't make any sense. He had him. And if you're that quarterback, you got to make that catch. I mean, you got to make that throw. And it goes overtime. And, there's a controversy where Cooks probably caught the ball. They probably got hose on that, but shit never came down to that. And that cost McDermott his job. And I know that I give Allen credit because he did step up to the podium and blamed himself. He knew that. He was bad. And in his mind, it's hard when you're a human being. When you take accountability, in your mind, in his mind, I'm thinking he cost McDermott his job. And now I get to the Patriots and the Texans, and I wanted Chris Stanley's Texans to win. That's my guy who comes on my show, and but I warned him. I said, listen, that was what you're going to do. Mistakes you made in Pittsburgh, you're not going to be able to do in Foxborough. And where was this vaunted defense at? I mean, are you serious? The defense, you can't score them. I said, no. And I was telling a guy at my church who's a Patriot fan, I said, you got nothing to worry about because the Texans never show up in Foxborough. They don't, and they didn't. After they took the lead, Stroud throws a huge pick six, game-changing. They have the ball. You want to go up 2 scores, put some pressure on New England, their young quarterback. And then New England gets to relax, and then to end the half, Drake May, who just carved up their defense, ended up throwing a touchdown to Stephon Diggs. And Houston kids a couple field goals, but in the end, in the fourth quarter, Drake May was able to pass to Butte for a 32-yard touchdown. Drake May, 3 touchdowns and 1 interception. He was solid. Stevenson ran the ball 70 yards. Where was the run defense? Where was the pass defense? And I knew that was kind of fictionally done last week when the Texans were able to run on Pittsburgh. I'm hoping that Flores takes a job as the Steelers head coach where the run defense gets shored up, because I knew that the Texans weren't going to be able to run New England, so it was going to be on Stroud. Stroud was pathetic. 4 interceptions, 20 of 47. He was just he cost them the game. He was bad, very bad. And then in the last game, the Niners ran out of gas. That kickoff return to start the game, Rashid Shaheed, 95 yards, that dagger in Seattle. You weren't coming back from that. And Sam Darnold was pretty good. He was 12 of 17, 124, touchdown. But Kenneth Walker, 116 yards, just gashed them. But their defense, that's the best defense in the NFL, not the Texans. That's a defense. That's a real defense. Texans were a pretty good defense. Seattle's a really good defense, but Seattle's got a real challenge with the Rams. I believe in my heart that's going to be a low-scoring game that the Rams pull out. Now that Bo Nix is out for Denver, that the Patriots should have an easy trip to the Super Bowl. They go to Denver, treat it as a road trip, start to prepare, get your Super Bowl tickets ready. Because Jared Stidham is the replacement. It's not Tyrod Taylor. I might pick Denver if Tyrod Taylor was a quarterback. You're not prepared to have a good backup. Jared Stidham is not any good. When I saw him in Auburn, I didn't like him. I don't know if Sean Payton, because guys get better around Sean Payton. He's a great quarterback guru. But Sean Payton, if he pulls this off, this is going to be one of the all-time great wins by a coach. Then he's elevated to all-time great status. If he could beat a healthy New England team, you don't have Bo Nix, defense will hang around because their pass rush is insane. And Telfunga and their improved defense, Telfunga on the back end at safety is tremendous. He is a hitter. They hit too. They're going to hit New England. New England's going to get tackled. They're going to get after New England. It's just that, how are you going to be able to move the ball with a backup quarterback? That's not that. So it's going to be New England versus Seattle or the Rams. It's going to be a rematch. So either Seattle or the Rams going to look for some revenge against New England. But New England's got an easy trip to the Super Bowl. Now, finally, Indiana, everybody's in the national championship game. Everybody said Indiana is going to blow Miami out. Not in Miami, number one. Number two, Miami's pass rush and defense is too solid. They hit hard, too. What I'm going to do is a toss-up to me. Fernando Mendoza at the last second to Cooper Jr. touchdown, just like the Penn State game. They're going to barely squeak out a win. And I wouldn't be surprised if Miami wins a game at home with Carson Beck just being solid. Because Carson Beck's been good. But Malachi Tony is just such a X factor for the Hurricanes. But I believe in Mendoza is going to be a little better than Beck. It comes down to that.